What's up, everybody? Ted Forbes. Welcome back to The Art of Photography. And we're going to do something a little bit different today. We're going to do a little mailbag. And about 2 weeks ago, I went to go check my P.O. box one day, and I had 3 packages in there, and they were all from people who watched the show that were sharing their work with me. I have 2 books and a print, and I thought this was really cool. And I emailed everybody and asked if I could share it on the show, and everybody was really excited about it. And this is some really amazing stuff, and I'm really excited about this. First up, I have a book, and this was sent to me by Eduardo Torres. And Eduardo and I met at the very first Art of Photography meetup we ever did, which was in London in, I guess, 2009. And Eduardo and I have been friends on Facebook, and we've kept up here and there over the years. And he recently contacted me, and I actually knew this was coming, and he said that he had finished a portfolio book on some of the portraits that he does and wanted to share it with me. And I'm going to come back to it in a second, but I love the cover on this. It's just a very simple book. It's very elegant, and he actually signed it and numbered each one of these. So it's an edition of 50, and this is number 7 of 50. And so I thought that was really cool. But Eduardo, and I am familiar with his work because we kept up online, and he has a wonderful style. He shoots mainly portraits of women, and he does these in black and white and color, and does some really beautiful portraits. And I think that, you know, they're very they give a nod to, you know, Rembrandt and some of the past master painting types of things. But I think what makes Eduardo's work interesting, to me at least, is his wonderful sense of color, which I think is outstanding. He uses these wonderful muted tones. Sometimes he does work in black and white. And I love the poses. I love the cropping on some of these. I think they're really amazing, and he just does an outstanding job. I also like the fact that he shoots a very contemporary look to his portraits, but rather than seeing women that are made up or kind of phony looking, he embraces imperfections in skin like freckles and things like that, and just really, I think, interprets a wonderful sense of beauty from the models that he shoots. And I absolutely think the world of Eduardo and his work is outstanding. He's got some black and white shots in here too that are really neat, really great classic look, bringing to mind people like Richard Avedon at times. Really well done book, really well laid out. And I want to talk about another book in a second that has this going on too, but a lot of thought was given to how the images were going to be presented on the pages, and I think Eduardo just did an outstanding job. And that's why I think that just having a simple cover like this really wraps the presentation up nicely. And so Eduardo did a fantastic job on this. So hats off to my buddy Eduardo. He's a great guy, and I'm glad we've been friends over the years, and I really want to thank him for sending that to me. Next, I want to show you a print, and this is from Chris Smith. And it was really kind of a cool story here, because Chris actually entered one of his images in one of the one of the Twitter competitions that we had for the book giveaways that we're doing, one of the Twitter challenges, and it was the one for architecture. And he wrote me a letter in here, and I'm just going to paraphrase this, I won't go into the whole thing, but basically he said, you know, and I think this is important, that he was very surprised he got it. He kind of put that in and submitted it to the competition without giving it a whole lot of thought. And this was interesting too. Now to the point of my letter, during our last book giveaway about Charles Sheeler, I chose a photo without putting much thought into it, and my surprise was that you chose it as a finalist. And this is where I think this is key too, because I've done that too, where sometimes we're not the best judge of our own work. But he said seeing it on the screen got me thinking about how photographers, either greats or amateurs, view their own work. A lot of actors have trouble watching their own performances because they see all the flaws. I kind of had that moment seeing my own image on the screen. It needed a lot of work. Originally shot it on film, scanned it into Photoshop, and I thought it was overprocessed, and he goes on. And I think it's a really interesting comment that Chris made, and I really did love the image, and I wouldn't have picked it otherwise. But sometimes when we view our own work, and I do this with my work too, you know, I'm one of those people, I really can't stand to see my own work quite frequently. And it's because you see all the blemishes, you know what happened behind the scenes, and there are other times where you think very highly of an image because it's impacted by these other things. And that's why I've said since the beginning of the show that it's always good to get a second pair of eyes when you're selecting work for your portfolio or whatever it is that you're doing. Anyway, I thought this was great. This is the image that was chosen, sorry. And it's under, I'm trying to get the reflection off of there. Yeah, so he's got it in a sheet of plastic here. But anyway, this is a really nice darkroom print of this, and really cool. And I want to thank Chris for sending that to me. This is really cool, and it's really special when we've done stuff with the show and then people are willing to share stuff like that. I think it's really, really pretty cool. One more book I want to show you, and this one is really neat too. And this one comes from Thomas Clemens, who is, we're kind of friends on the internet too. You probably recognize him from the comments section on YouTube. He's been around And he wrote me a nice note in here too, but this is a small book that he produced called Bochum in Bilden. Pardon me for my poor German pronunciation, but basically Bochum is a city that is, I believe, northeast of Dusseldorf. I've never been to Germany, so I'm kind of guessing on that. And this is where he's living right now, and he did this wonderful little book of images. The translation of this is Bochum in Pictures, and they're really beautiful. Mostly black and white, but he's got some color in here as well. And again, I think this is a very well laid out book. He opted for a glossy finish on his paper, but really wonderful eye for composition and some really interesting images that are in here. And I really love the fact, and there's a lot of images that are in here, I love the fact that, one, it's a simple concept. It's just taking the place where you live and doing a photo essay about it. And I think that's really special. There's a broad range to what he does in here too. There's some architectural stuff. There's some more poignant kinds of landscape photos. There's what's interesting too is the way he treats people as a subject. I mean, most of these, it's a very Thomas Struth kind of ideal where it's landscapes that are completely devoid of humanity in a lot of these. And I think they're really wonderful. And I also appreciate the amount of thought that Thomas gave into pairing the images that you're seeing. You know, typically when you look at photo books, I love these night shots. When you look at photo books, traditionally images are printed on the right-hand side and the left-hand side is left blank. And I realize that when you're doing print-on-demand books like Blurb and stuff, that you want to put more images in and get more bang for your buck. But I think if you're going to do that, what Thomas has done here is really excellent, where you put some thought into the pairing of these images so they really work in sets if they're going to be displayed right next to each other. You don't want to have facing images that are completely foreign to one another, and Thomas has done a wonderful job of this. There are a few people shots in here that I really like too, these with this this carousel in the middle. Really beautiful work, and I really want to thank all these people for sharing their work, and this is just a beautiful little book. And I will link up to all these guys in the show notes, either websites and or Twitter accounts, all that stuff, and so you guys can go look at more of their work. And this was really cool. Also, this was really neat too, and I just want to share this because it's really cool. Adrienne Stortz, who I featured in one of our channels that, you know, I recommend you watch on YouTube. I featured her show, and she does a cooking show, and she sent me a really sweet thank you note. But this is really cool. It's got a printed batch of asparagus on one side, and wonderful thank you note. And then the card is actually made of wood. I don't know if you can see that or not. It's just a really thin sheet of wood. Anyway, I thought that was really cool. I've never had a wood card before, so I thought that was really nice. And she left a really nice note in there. And I'll link up again to her in the show notes, because if you're into cooking at all and alternative healthy recipes and things like that, Adrienne is your girl. She has a show, a channel called XOXO Cooks, and she's great. I really think the world of her. So anyway, I want to thank everybody for sending stuff in. This was a really nice surprise. I do put my P.O. box online so people can find it, but I've never asked anybody to send me anything, and I really thought this was special. And really what it means to me that I want to share with you guys is, a lot of times, you know, well, all the time, I put a lot of work and effort into doing this show and making sure I get several out during the week. And a lot of times when you're doing a show, if you've ever done online video, you probably know what I'm talking about. You end up talking to a camera and doing a lot of prep and research. And I really don't see what's on the other side of the camera a lot. And it's really nice to get feedback from people. But what's really special about all the stuff I've shared with you guys today is that this was work that was done by people who are inspired by the show. And that really means a lot to me. And it's a really nice plus that the work is on the level of quality that it is, because it makes me really proud that my audience is that talented, and you guys really are. And so anyway, I want to thank everybody for watching once again, and thanks to everybody for sending stuff. And you know, if you guys want to see more of this, I'd be happy to drill down into the books a little further so you can actually see a lot of the images. I know I kind of glossed through these today, but anyway, I want to give a special shout out and thanks to everybody for sending their stuff in. Anyway, guys, as always, if you like this episode, remember to hit the like button and share it with your friends. And as always, subscribe to The Art of Photography so you'll always be up to date with the latest and the greatest videos as they come out. We're doing about 3 a week now, which is a lot, but I'm having a lot of fun with the show, and we got a lot of cool stuff coming up with contrast and some other things that I'll be reporting on this week as well. So anyway, guys, once again, this has been another episode of The Art of Photography. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Later.